Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Hugh Freeze, the Auburn Tigers, absolutely rolling on the recruiting trail, landing their second top 100 commitment in the 2026 class, coming from four-star linebacker Shadarius Toodle. And we spent a lot of time 15 minutes ago talking about Hezekiah Harris in terms of what Auburn is doing on the defensive line. You look at what the best friend of a really good defensive line is, it's having linebackers that are hyper athletic and can flow downhill. You look at a defensive line that's going to win at the point of attack and keep these linebackers free. Shadarius Toodle is going to benefit from an elite Auburn defensive line in front of him over the next couple of years within this Auburn program. And you kind of look at Shadarius Toodle. I think the Auburn fans are going to know what I'm going to say. This is the modern era college football linebacker where gone are the days where linebackers are operating just inside the tackle box. You need your linebackers to be able to go sideline to sideline, go tackle running backs in the flat, carry tight ends up the seam. Shadarius Toodle at 6'3", 210. He's long. He's extremely athletic. Does need to fill out the frame. But again, we're talking about a kid that's only going into his junior year of high school. I think there is some big-time potential with Shadarius Toodle. And again, I love putting this kid behind a defensive line that I see that's going to be one of the better units in all of college football over the next couple of years. I'm going to get into Shadarius Toodle, talk about how he fits in this Auburn defense after getting into the film. I mean, what a good fit in this DJ Durkin defense where Shadarius Toodle is going to be asked to do a lot, and I think he's capable of doing a lot for this Auburn defense. Before we get into it, as always, just want to say thank you to you guys. And for the Auburn fans, we said we are going to break down every commitment that Auburn has this weekend. I ain't got no plans on Saturday. As long as it takes as many commitments as it takes, I'm having a blast. Appreciate you guys rocking with the fellas. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. It sounds like there might be some more fireworks over the next couple of days. And without further ado, let's get into Shadarius Toodle. You got to start with the frame, and you turn on the film and say, this kid looks like an edge rusher playing off-ball linebacker, but he has the athleticism and the movement skills of an off-ball linebacker. I think the first thing that jumps out on the film is his ability to cover so much space. And that's really important for a couple of different reasons. One, you look at these modern era college football offenses, they're going to stretch you out. They're going to use every single blade of grass on the football field. To have a linebacker that can go sideline to sideline, cover so much area so quickly, that's what you need in this era of college football. Shadarius Toodle certainly has that. I think the second thing you absolutely love is what he can do getting after the passer. You go back to DJ Durkin during that Texas A&M stint as defensive coordinator. I don't think there was a defensive coordinator that blitzed linebackers more often than DJ Durkin. And so why are we so excited about guys like Eugene Asante and Austin Keys going into 2024? We think they're going to be asked to rush the passer. I look at Shadarius Toodle and say, this is a kid that, again, has the traits of an edge rusher, but just the movement skills as an off-ball linebacker. He's going to be an elite pass rusher from that second level. And I think lastly, you look at Shadarius Toodle in terms of dropping back in zone coverage. This kid is so long. You talk about taking away the middle of the field, those short intermediate route concepts with your linebackers. Shadarius Toodle's wingspan and just how much of a throwing window that he can kind of take up, it is going to be really hard to attack the middle of the field with Shadarius Toodle kind of sitting back in zone coverage because of how long and athletic he is. If he has to carry a big tight end up the seam, and at 6'3", 210, he certainly has the athleticism, but more importantly, the size to do just that. I think he needs to fill out the frame a little bit more, which makes sense because he's only going into his junior year of high school. I think there is some big-time upside with Shadarius Toodle, and more importantly, this is the ideal linebacker that you want playing behind what I think is going to be an elite defensive line over the next couple of years. You get into the film's a blast. I mean, one, he just stands out in terms of how big he is. I mean, yes, he needs some work on the frame, like filling it out. He's certainly going to fill that frame out, but the length in the frame is absolutely incredible. And then the closing speed on the ball carrier. We talk about sideline to sideline, but also playing downhill. I mean, Shadarius Toodle, I mean, the bird, that is, you talk about heat-seeking missile at the linebacker spot. The ability to pick through traffic, which is also a very important aspect of linebackers, not only Do you have all this athleticism, but can you pick through traffic and go find the ball carrier? Shadarius Toodle, ain't no problem with him picking through traffic and just kind of a heat-seeking missile working downhill. Only 210 pounds, a long way to go in terms of filling out the frame, but the physicality that this kid plays with, it's kind of next level. Next rep, we talk about kind of sitting back in zone coverage. I don't even blame this quarterback for trying to make this throw across his body. But Shadarius Toodle is just so long, and his ability to go make plays on football is kind of just comes right into him. I think on a lot of linebackers, that's probably getting through that throwing window, getting to the wide receiver, not Shadarius Toodle with the length that he has, and then showing a little athleticism on the return as well. This kid can cook. And it's a little bit of a acceleration process. I don't think the short area quicks are necessarily there with Shadarius Toodle, but when he wants to get going, he can get going in a big way. A lot of different ways this kid can impact the game. Sitting back in zone coverage, again, we're going to take away that middle of the field, but when it is time to trigger downhill and go get the quarterback, go get the ball carrier, he can cover a lot of ground awfully quickly. He's kind of just that apex predator at that second level. He gets some good reps on the offense side of the football, kind of showing a little bit of that athleticism that you want to see from the linebacker. We say short area quickness might be a question mark. I might be wrong after watching this rep. I mean, you're talking about a premier athlete with the premier and ideal frame. A lot of things that this kid can do. Again, working through traffic, sideline to sideline, it's all there. He always is going downhill. Big time punch at the point of attack as well. And then look at him as a pass rusher. And this is a guy that DJ Durkin is going to have a blast with a guy like Shadarius Toodle in terms of how you want to use him. Kind of like they used Edgerrin Cooper last year at Texas A&M. You can do the same thing with Shadarius Toodle, whether it's kind of blitzing the A or B gap, whether it's coming off the edge. This kid can be a force as a pass rusher as well. I think the last couple of things I want to note, one, you look at the state of Alabama in the 2026 class, this is how you want it to look if you're Auburn, right? Hezekiah Harris, Shadarius Toodle, two of the top 4 kids in the state of Alabama, staying home playing for Auburn. They're trending for 5-star edge rusher Anthony Jones from Mobile, Alabama. I look at Auburn and say, not only are they getting a head start on this 2026 class, they are dominating the state of Alabama, which is exactly how you want it to look. You take a look at the 2026 class. It's a top 5 class with 2 top 100 national prospects, both in the front 7. I mean, if you're an Auburn fan, you have to be just absolutely fired up with what Hugh Freeze is doing on the recruiting trail. And we kind of talked about it. Again, 2026, it's a long ways away from National Signing Day, but how does Hugh Freeze in Auburn, kind of get this program back to where it belongs? It's just stacking good classes. An elite class in 2024. They're trending for a very strong class in 2025. And then you look at 2026, this might be the best high school class that Hugh Freeze recruits at Auburn during his first 5 years. It seems like it could be a top 3 class in 2026. And Hugh Freeze injecting so much talent into this roster for the Auburn fans. You have to be so fired up. We'll cut it there. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. Again, if y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We'll talk to y'all later.